office today.
I should have worn my Christmas sweater. I knew you like Star Wars.
Hey,
So-
hey, yeah, that's nice. That's nice. I see that Vic's album in the back.
I was wondering, I was like, I know you wanted to do like the voodoo doll-esque concept one day. So I was like, is she gonna spot it? Hello everyone, my name is Umu. I am ReacttotheK channel creator, and welcome to my interview with the very skilled, hardworking solo artist who debuted in 2019 and has been releasing badass bangers ever since. Please introduce yourself and let us know what you have been up to lately.
Hello to the ReacttotheK viewers. Hello, my name is AleXa, and I recently had my comeback revolution on the same day of my debut. I just finished those promotions up, and now we're doing some things. You can see I am in a Christmas sweater. We may or may not have done something. Who knows? But yeah.
Wonderful. All right. So I've organized my questions for you kind of in chronological order. So we're going to start way back to 12-year-old AleXa, or maybe perhaps even younger, when you first discovered that K-pop existed through SHINee, right? I was wondering, are there any skills that you developed through hobbies or interests when you're even younger than 12 that you feel have come in handy years later when you finally became an idol?
Let's see. I mean, when I was very young, I was enrolled in dance classes, so I guess that was a interest of mine and a hobby, I guess, because it wasn't like school affiliated. So starting dance at a young age definitely helped. And then when I did become aware of K-pop and I started doing covers, I would say that helped my memorization skills a wee bit.
Gotcha.
But any other interests?
I heard you read
Not sure.
poetry.
Oh, yeah. Look at you knowing my brain before I know my brain. Wow. Yes, poetry. That was another big hobby of mine growing up. A lot of writing, whether it was like creative writing or just poetry, but that helps for the lyrics, definitely. So, yes.
What type of things did you write about when you were younger?
When I was a wee lad, what did I write about? I don't remember being a wee lad, so I mean, I don't know what I can provide.
This is when you were a wee lad.
Wee
Okay.
lad.
Okay.
Probably things like nature, I'm guessing, like the trees so green and it is now spring. Like, things like that.
Yeah, it was so funny because the other day my dad is a computer engineer and he was watching a video of a man building the Millennial Falcon out of Legos, and I was just like, nerd, and he was just like, no, honey, like, listen, this is what I did as a kid, and I just realized now that building, stuff out of Legos, building starships, following directions, all those things that I learned as a kid, I'm using now in my current job. So it's like, I gotta ask AleXa this. It's so interesting to see what we do as a kid, even though we don't quite know what we want to do in the future, can be used in what we're doing.
Exactly. So don't let nobody tell you that your passions and hobbies are dumb. Do them.
Yes. Amen. I also learned that your college major was music theater, which obviously requires a pretty different style of singing than pop does. How did you decide on what characteristics to have with your voice as a solo artist, since it seemed like you already had a style nailed down during the making of a K-pop star, which I'm guessing was around when you started majoring in musical theater?
Close, yeah, basically. Let's see here. So I started college in 2015 because I graduated May of 2015, started college August 2015. Yeah, with that whole shebang, I first came to Korea to do the Rising Legends thing, the making of a K-pop star thing in 2017. I don't know. I mean, I've been doing choir like my whole life as a kid. I did competitive show choir in high school even. But when it comes to like musical theater and choral singing, you typically want to have very tall vowels. You need to use air to like push the sound out rather than keep the air in and make it resonate, I guess. So knowing that, I guess I was like, okay, well, if this is choir, what's the opposite? And that would be pop, right? So I guess I used the contrast in my brain to figure out how my voice should be, I guess.
That does make sense. Back then, did you try to listen to a lot of different artists and then be like, ooh, I like her voice, I kind of want to, I'm inspired by her?
Funny you say that. Yeah, I mean, back in the day, I say as if I'm like sage and like so old with wisdom. Back in my day, when I was younger, back when Troye Sivan, which is a YouTuber, I really love Troye Sivan stuff. I love Christina Perry. Older, like 2000 style pop soloists, I like listening to them a lot. I mean, I grew up with Britney too. Of course, I don't sing like Britney, but you gotta keep the Britney tone in mind for when you might need it. You never know. We gotta bring out the
Right.
you never know when you bring it out. So.
Wow, that was amazing. And I was super excited to learn that your major was music theater because I'm more of a in the orchestral pit music theater fan because I'm a French horn player. So
Oh,
I'm like that kind of fan, you know?
gotcha.
What's your favorite role like that you've played or dream role?
Well, I mean, this role is one that I can only dream of because there's no way in hell I'm ever gonna get it because I've never had opera training. But Christine from
Hmm.
Phantom of the Opera, that's like one of my all-time favorites. It's like
Hmm.
either her or Rumpelteazer from Cats. She's
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know
yeah. I know,
yeah,
I know, I know. Oh.
specifically Rumpelteazer because I feel
Mhm.
like that'd be such a fun vocal role, but also Cats is such a dance heavy show and their numbers always really fun. So I'm like, me. I can't. But
Uh-huh.
so that's it. Yeah.
You'd be great in those roles.
Thank you.
When you were a music theater major, what made you decide to go into that? Because I know beforehand you were
Mhm.
interested in what was it like mortician? You were interested in
Yeah.
the yeah.
Yeah.
So what made you decide to do music theater versus that route?
Well, if I'm going to be completely real with you here, I have passions for both. When I thought about like, long-term job for like income purposes, like, settle down in my mid-20s, get married, like that kind of job, I was like, okay, forensic pathologist or like an autopsy worker or mortician. That would be ideal because it brings in the checks. And, I've said this before, but when you work with dead bodies, you can't get sued for malpractice if you mess up and do something wrong because they are already dead. Just saying. Just saying. That could be totally wrong. Somebody please fact check me. But anyways, but then when it came to choosing musical theater, I had been accepted into one or two colleges for their forensic program. But then I also was accepted into a few colleges for like a musical, like a arts college. And then when it came down to it, it's kind of like, before I go off to a big university, let me just go to my local university first, like my community college, test some stuff out there, and then see if I really want to pursue musical theater first, because that's a definite financial commitment. Because you
Right.
don't know if you're going to get hired right off the bat. Like you can't go
Hmm.
into like training for that. Like, and so I went ahead and just did musical theater for a few years in my community college, and then that's when I really was like, you know what, performing, loved it as since I was a kid, and this is kind of what I feel like I'm meant to do.
Were your family and friends the type of people who suggested, okay, if this is your dream, just do it? Or were they saying maybe just in case because, financially you should have a backup? What
See,
were your thought process?
oh, here's the thing. My friends, they're the kind of friends that are like, yeah, do whatever you want to do, best friend. You do you. We will support you no matter what. Even it's like, hey, I'm gonna live on the side of the road in a cardboard box and like tap dance while juggling crabs and be like, yeah, that's my best friend. But my
Mm,
family, they were
mhm.
like, we understand that you love, performance arts and that you're good at them, but you need a practical job, honey. So if you go to college, you can major in forensic pathology, but do a minor in musical theater. I don't know. And in my mind, I'm like, how I balance dead bodies while like doing memory, alone in the moonlight, cutting up a dead body. Like, how is that supposed to work? So, at the end of the day, my parents, God bless them, I love them. I know, of course, they only wanted the best for me. So I had a lot of persuading I had to do, but then they finally let me go. And now I'm here. So, yeah.
Perfect. Okay, on the same topic of performances that you put on growing up, have there been certain performances that you feel have shaped you to become the person or performer you are today, like winning in a talent show when you're younger or messing up a line during a musical theater performance, but you were able to ad lib and get back on track?
Okay. I mean, it's kind of like I said a bit earlier. I did competitive show choir in high school, and I was also on my high school's pom team. And so that's competitive dance. And so I feel like with the super intense training I had for my competitive dance team, and then like the hours and like months of preparation ahead for competitions I had for my show choir, I feel like that helped my mindset get into gear for like, K-pop trainee life. Granted, the two are very, very different, but having a good like practice and work ethic ahead of time helps. Like I don't think this kind of field is one that you could just blindly go into. So it really helped me having show choir and like pom under my belt. So
yeah. So bringing it back to K-pop, you've been doing all your own stunts in your music videos so far. Did you have any sort of training beforehand for them?
For the sword fighting, for like do or die, I learned it like, so we had like an action coach and of course the lovely stunt woman that was acting with the mask on. And so before we shot it, we would go over the choreography like 5 times and then we would shoot it. If something was wrong, we would go over it again. It was a very on the spot learning process. But then for Revolution, in regards with like the aerial wire work and then the combat we had in there, like when I was flipping guys over, I attended action school for a day. I think it was the day before the shoot, actually. I attended action school for a few hours, learned the choreography. But then when we got to the shoot, due to the weather and like certain conditions, we had to just change it on the spot. And then we left at like 3:50, and now it's raining, and the first scene we were going to film is now flooded. So I learned that on the spot. And then with the explosions, I did not know the explosions were going to happen, but when they said, hey, time to run past the explosions, I said, what? Explosions? It was so much fun though. So I was like, okay, cool, I get to run my things and they blow up. So I mean, yeah, it's just kind of, you go in blind. Of course, everything's safe. Everything is safe. That is why we practice beforehand. And there are professionals on site, but it's kind of just, you go in and you just do it.
Which stunt was the most memorable or fun to do?
Well, I don't know if it's really a stunt, but the free diving I had to do for the water scenes, I received like an hour-long lesson, like about, I'd say maybe half an hour before we started filming because I had time to rest in between, but they gave me like a crash course on like free diving with an oxygen tank, because I don't think we put it in the behind video. We did maybe, I don't remember. But basically when I'm in that tank, I'm completely like, keeping myself submerged, but we had a coach on the side who had an oxygen tank. So if I needed like oxygen, because I was under there for like minutes, I would like, signal, he would bring it over to me. I had to learn how to breathe underwater because you have to like exhale first to get the water out of the tube and then inhale. But you have to inhale a certain way. So that was very fun.
Frightening.
But it was just a very fun process. Everything was just so fun. Oh, I want to do it again. Can we do it again? I want to do it again. Can we do it again? Yeah, we can do it again. Sweet. Okay.
Well, you need to make sure she's writing it down and you have to sign some forms, make this into a contract, right? Like this needs to happen.
There we go.
Was that a napkin?
It was a receipt.
Okay, moving on to how amazingly expressive you are. I saw in a lot of comment sections how your fans love how demonstrative you are and that you're basically a living meme. I would love for you to give an example of your song's messages by making a facial expression or pose that would represent the lyrics for each. So I'll say the name of the song and you make a facial expression. Does that sound good?
Sure.
Bomb.
We gon' drop it like a
Kitty Run.
how to play.
Oh, cute. Do or die.
I don't know, because then, well, the ending pose is the same, but when it's do or die, I think of the alien and its face like, meh. So I because it's basically twisted. Like,
Wait, can you do that again?
Sure.
Villain.
Of course it's gotta be that.
But is the villain's expression, is it menacing or is it like sly? What kind of villain?
I think it's like kind of like, I'm gonna get you. You don't know what I'm gonna get you, so that kind of thing.
Ooh, intimidating. And last but not least, Revolution.
Evolution.
So I know this means like I promise. Is there a meaning behind this?
When we were finishing the choreography, we just had like, just a normal turn kind of pose in mind. And then the choreographer asked like, okay, is there anything like special we should do? Is there like a certain like hand sign or like signature pose you want? And so I was like, Revolution, I was thinking. And then in ASL, this is R. With
Yes.
your dominant hand, I'm
You,
right-handed.
you know
but
ASL?
it's a little bit. So I was like, that's R. So I was like, revolution, let's go. So
Yo! I learned that you love languages, but I didn't know like the extent of knowledge.
the thing is, I don't remember so much, but I remember most of the alphabet, and I remember the most obscure words because working as a waitress, I had like deaf tables, and I had to learn what like soup and sushi was, and I was like, okay, so yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I took ASL in high school, but I also like
Oh.
forgot everything.
Word.
If we lived in the same state, it would probably be my high school at your sushi restaurant pretending to be deaf, because those were part of our assignments. We had to pretend to be deaf at restaurants. Yeah, and interact, see how hearing people would interact with us.
Interesting. That's nifty.
So fun.
I think it's like the night that the people came in, God bless them, like I already had like 6 tables. It was only 2 waiters that night, and I had like half the restaurant, and I was like, okay. I was in the back like Googling, how do I say, would you like some more soup?
Wow, that's intense. But you made it. You lived. You did
it. I did it. And they were really nice and they tipped well. Thank you. But
that's absolutely wonderful. Okay, once again, bring it back to K-pop. So far, your songs have had such a grand, powerful, cinematic, action-packed movie vibe. Are you an artist who wants to try out different styles of music, or do you prefer to stick to a more consistent, recognizable sound?
Now, I would say that the AleXa like discography has a pretty recognizable sound. It's very deep and bassy and kind of in your face. But that's not to say we're going to stick with that the whole time. The reason why it's had that kind of, signature sound is because, we've been telling a story this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
But now that Revolution has closed this chapter and we don't know what's next, who's to say we won't try something completely stylistically different? But we might do something the same. I don't know. I can't really tell you. But, there's no bad thing about changing, and there's nothing bad about staying consistent. It's kind of different for each artist, I guess. But, as long as I can grow and improve at the end of the day, that's what's important to me.
I've been really thinking about your concept. And so we've been introduced to 2 AleXas so far, right?
See, there's me, AleXa, and there was the Anti and Do or Die, and then there was the one in Revolution.
Armor.
There's 3 so far.
And the hologram one in the beginning.
Hologram in the beginning of Do or Die too. So there's 4 existing AleXas that we know about right now. I don't know where the Kidron AleXa comes in. She's just there. And then the rock version AleXa, she's also just kind of there. They're just over here having a party by themselves. They're social distancing. That's what they're doing.
Okay, yeah.
So,
that's important. Right. Is it possible that each newly introduced AleXa will have like a different kind of genre with her? Like
yes.
Oh!
Yes.
We're gonna be meeting Christmas AleXa sometime soon, aren't we?
AleXa, yes. Oh. But I mean that is kind of the goal, because the overall AleXa concept is multiverse, and having multiple concepts, genres, whatever, existing in one plane. So yeah, whatever future AleXas pop up, they're all gonna have different concepts, different sounds, hopefully. So yeah.
Woo! We all are super, super excited for that. And we are now coming up to the end of the interview. I had so much fun coming up with questions for you. You're such an interesting, fun person and super approachable. But I didn't want to keep you up too late after such a long day of activities. So I am an avid listener of Hidig.
Yes!
How did I get here? And a question came to mind after listening to your episode about motivation. You said you're someone who relies a lot on personal motivation to get things done, and that people in general tends to not value self-care as highly as we all should. So what is a typical self-care day for you?
On the days that I don't have a schedule and like I've literally got nothing to do, they're not like, hey, can you work on something at home? Like a day I've got absolutely nothing to do. For me, I have trouble sleeping, not just because the field of work I'm in. I just have trouble sleeping in general.
Insomnia.
Let's go, insomniacs! Whether I fall asleep at like 2 a.m. or 7 in the morning, I sleep in for as long as possible, for one, because nighttime or daytime, if you can sleep, your body needs sleep. Like, don't purposely deprive your body of sleep, please. You need sleep. So I sleep in. Depending on what my week looks like, if I know I'm going to be dancing a lot, I like carbo load, but then I eat a lot of fruits and vegetables on the side. If I know I've got nothing to do, I kind of just pace my meals and I tend to just eat more lightly, keep my body like, lighter so I can just binge for the whole time span that I have off. Lots of skincare. Watching lots of Korean movies that I like and watching a lot of anime. Yeah, lately. So.
Ooh. What's the recent anime and K movie that you've watched?
Let's see, recently I rewatched Kizo the taxi driver. It's based probably in the 70s or 80s in Korea about the student riots in Gwangju here in Korea. It's really historically interesting because I came into Korea not knowing too much about the culture and the history. So watching things like that really give me good insight about the country's history. Yeah, I mean, that's a Korean movie I've watched recently. But then anime-wise, I recently started watching Why Did My Brain Just Be Mean to Me and Not Tell Me? What
No
it was.
problem. You want to describe the plot?
Franks. Because my friends told me about it, so I started watching it. It's like students are like trained to be like fighters of sorts. I still don't exactly understand the plot myself, but it's kind of like Neon Genesis Evangelion, like Evangelion, kind of similar in a way, I guess. So I'm like two episodes in, but it's not bad so far. So
last but not least, I would love for you to end this video with a message to your fans, but with a little twist. Since you are a dancing queen, can you make choreography for your ending message? It doesn't need to be like full-on body choreography, but I'd love to see, a little arm action.
Okay. My dearest AI troopers, thank you so much for watching this video. I am very thankful for you, and I love you all so much. I will see you the next time we can spend time together. But until then, please stay warm and happy and healthy because I love you.
Well, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for squeezing me into your schedule.
No, thank you
Best
for
of
having
luck
me.
for future activities, and sending you as much energy and sleep vibes
Thank
as
you.
possible.